Well, hey there, it's Catherine from CatherinePooler.com. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a fun card with a layering stamp set. This one is called Faithful Flutterings, and also the stained glass cover plate. We're going to use two colors from our spa line. So recently on my blog, I had these two cards using the same supplies. So the same stamp set, here is that lovely butterfly, and the stained glass cover plate. And then on the background, super easy to do. I just took the ink pad and I just swiped it across the cardstock and then layered my stained glass cover plate die on top. I'm gonna grab a sheet of copy paper because I want to do some stamping off or second generation stamping. So I'm inking up my stamp in sugared lavender. I'm just going to stamp it off, and then I'm going to stamp it straight onto my cardstock. And then I'm going to do the next layer. When you're layering these stamps, this one goes first, and then the next most solid one goes second, and the one that's least solid goes third in your darkest color. So I'm going to switch these out. This one is my next one. I did sugared lavender stamped off once. Now I'm just going to go straight from the ink pad to the cardstock. And then for my last one, I'm going to go with the darker purple, which is Royal Treatment. I'm going to do the body of the butterfly in Blackjack, and then I'm going to cut it out. So now my butterfly is cut out, and I'm going to work on these layers. So I have my card base. This is a half sheet or it's a full sheet cut in half, scored and folded in half. And then I have a 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have a 3 3/4 by 5. So these are each going to layer 1/4 inch larger than the other. I'm going to take my scratch paper and my sugared lavender ink pad. I'm going to do direct to paper, and I'm just going to color this white cardstock so that it coordinates with my butterfly perfectly. And with our ink pads, it's really great. You get great results with direct to paper, coloring your cardstock. If you're gonna do this technique, make sure you have the ink refills on hand because you will go through ink a little bit more quickly, but at a moment's notice, you have matching cardstock. So that is really awesome. So I'm just gonna show you real quick how to ink that. So this is the sugared lavender ink refill. You're just gonna gently squeeze and move your nozzle back and forth on your ink pad, really gentle. These ink pads are foam, and you want to be careful so they don't tear. So just quick and easy. So now I'm going to grab that first layer, and I have already cut out this piece of cardstock from our stained glass cover plate. I just want this circle on the inside, so I'm going to cut around here. I'm just following the circle all the way around, and then I'm going to finish poking out all of those extra little pieces. So my circle is cut out, and you don't want to throw this away because you can trim this part off and use it on another card. So we'll just set that aside. Sometimes my die doesn't cut out all the way, just like that. So one way to avoid that is running your Big Shot or your die through the Big Shot or whatever cutting machine you have. Run it through a few times, like back and forth, 2, 3, 4 times, or use a shim. And a shim is a piece of copy paper, just like this. It's just gonna make that sandwich a little bit thicker, and so then your sandwich will be tighter running through, and it will push the cutting blades down a little bit more, and you'll get a cleaner cut. There are also precision plates on the market and all kinds of different little tricks. But on this one, I'm telling you all this because I was a little too excited and I didn't make sure it went all the way through. So what I did was I punched out, made sure I had the same ones in, and I punched everything else out. This I can't quite get. So I'm just gonna put my butterfly over it. I could do it, I was planning to do it maybe like down here in the corner. So I could do it up here, I could move it down here, but I'm just going to place this right over the top of this. And the reason I'm using this spot right here is because I didn't have this even, in my desire for evenness is not going to handle that. So, all right, so greeting, I'm gonna use Blackjack, and every once in a while my voice sounds a little weird, so excuse me, I'm kind of recovering from a little cold here. I'm gonna stamp it right about here, and I'm using one of our acrylic blocks. Perfect. They have grid lines, so it's really great for lining up all of your sentiments and your stamps so that you stamp straight. I am going to adhere these pieces together before I add on my stained glass piece. and before I add the butterfly. I want my butterfly to pop up a little bit, so I'm going to use some dimensional adhesive. I want it to be a little bit thinner than that, so I'll just cut it down. So we'll add some liquid glue to our die cut piece. And then we'll adhere it to the project. If you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. All of the supplies that I'm using are listed below, and if you're on YouTube, be sure to hop over to my blog because I will have photos of this card and links to my blog posts with the other cards, these. So that's it for today. Thanks for being here. I will see you soon.